Hi there. In this video, we'll be covering how much money can you make writing a book. The short answer, it depends. The long answer, it depends. By the end of this video, you will learn why you shouldn't focus on book sales and what you should focus on instead. And stay tuned until the end of the video for a free opportunity I really think you're going to enjoy. Let's dive in. When thinking about how much money you can make from writing a book, there's so many different factors and there's so many different variables at play. Some of them involve project costs. Some of them involve the things that you're trying to accomplish afterwards. So there's the book writing and publishing process, which costs money. And then there is everything that comes after it and the opportunities that a book can create for you. Let's talk about project costs first. If you end up writing the book yourself, the writing process shouldn't cost that much money. There could be travel involved, there could be overhead involved. You might want to buy a new computer or something else. But at the same time, you're containing costs. Costs are contained to your writing. When you have to work with other people beyond yourself, that's when costs start to pick up. You know, I work as a book ghostwriter and I help authors bring their stories forward. And working with a professional ghostwriter at a baseline is probably going to cost $25,000 to $30,000, upwards to $100,000 or more, depending on the project, depending on the scope, depending on all these different factors. You know, so if you think about how much money would go into ghostwriting as opposed to writing it yourself, that's a big difference. So that's something to keep in mind. When you think about the overall goals of revenue, it's important to think about the things that you are going to pay to get to that point. At the same time, that's not to say that paying for a ghostwriter is going to inhibit your overall revenue. You could spend quite a bit of money on a ghostwriter and see huge returns on the book. There have been studies done actually that have shown that books that have been written by ghostwriters have actually generated more revenue than books that have not been written by ghostwriters. That working with a professional could maximize your revenue potential exponentially, you know, by so much, by a factor of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, whatever the case may be. A ghostwriter could help you unlock revenue potential that you might not realize for yourself. So you could save money on the writing process and not make as much money in revenue later, or you could spend lots of money up front and make more money or less money depending on all these different factors. So when I say it depends, that's what I mean. It depends. There's a lot of different factors at play. As you think about revenue from book writing and publishing, disregard book sales. Don't think about book sales. Book sales are nice. If you sell lots and lots of copies, it's great. Think about opportunities that can be generated from each book sold. You know, I've had clients and projects that I've worked on that have sold thousands of copies that have paled in comparison of revenue potential for books that have sold hundreds of copies. You know, if you write and publish a book and you give it to 100 leads, these are high qualified, high potential leads, and they end up buying packages for you, for your business, for your company, whatever the case may be. They could spend tens of thousands of dollars, each one of them, to work with you. That's so much more revenue potential than thinking about books sold. Even if you sell thousands of copies of your book, if you don't have a funnel, if you don't have an opportunity, if you don't have a call to action to take the reader and turn them into something different and something more, you're not going to be able to capture that revenue as efficiently as if you have those things set up. So the real revenue potential for your book comes from having high value, high cost offerings, connecting them to your sales funnel, and having an efficient sales funnel that will convert leads to clients. That's the way to make money from your book. That could mean speaking engagements, that could mean coaching services. There's so many different opportunities that can come from the book. Think about the book as the door opener, not as the be-all end-all. The book is one piece of your puzzle of the things that you do and the things that you put out into the world. And how does it fit with all the other things? How does it connect the pieces? How does it align the pieces? How does it get people excited to learn more from you, to meet with you, to become a client of yours, to work with you directly? That's what the revenue value in a book is. The revenue value for a book is really thinking beyond the book and thinking about the opportunities that can come about. The beauty of a book, though, is that it's a long-term advertising and marketing asset. If you write the right book, this could be something that you promote for years and years to come. This isn't just some quick flash in the pan thing where you're trying to, get some quick revenue. This is something bigger. This is something deeper. This is something that you're connected to and that you're going to be connected to for years to come. When I think about revenue in books, I think about one client in particular. We wrote a book together 2 or 3 years ago, and the book sold okay. It didn't really sell a ton of copies. It's on Amazon. People who read it liked it, but it didn't get a wide audience. And I always felt like, I wish that book was more successful. And the client keeps reaching out to me and saying, I just sold another service package. I just sold another coaching opportunity. Somebody loved the book and they wanted to work with me, and they just sent me $50,000 or $75,000 for a full year of services. And I'm floored by that. It's amazing. It's amazing to think that these words that we wrote years ago could turn into revenue now, that this could keep happening again and again. And it really shows me the value of this process, that it costs money up front, and the client, the author that I worked with, was really mindful about the money they were paying to work with me initially. It was a cost. It was a big cost to them. And it's now paid off like many times. It's paid off in so many different ways. And it's so exciting to see that. There's so many times when authors struggle when they're writing and publishing a book, and they spend money and they put a lot of money into it and time into it, and they work with a PR company to try to promote the book, and it doesn't land the way they want it to. And now they feel like they've lost all this money, that not only did the book not perform to the way they wanted it to, but the outcomes weren't there. And now they feel like they wasted this money. I don't want you to feel like you wasted money. I want you to get your money's worth and then some, to get something out of this. And by connecting all of your pieces, by having this funnel, by understanding the call to action, by getting readers excited to work with you, there's so many more opportunities available to you. But it requires patience, and it requires thinking about books differently, not thinking about tons of copies sold, but about hitting one person at a time and sharing a message with them that resonates. If you want to learn more about how much money can you make writing a book, head to my website. I'd love to talk to you. Visit goodghostwriter.com. You can click the link below, and there you can schedule a one-on-one strategy call with me. I would love to talk to you, to learn more about your story, to learn more about the book that you're interested in writing, and how I can potentially help you along your way. Love to share some tips and insights and help you succeed in any way I can. Remember, a good book can change your life. I'm Dan Good. Thanks for watching.